Hello and a warm welcome to part 2 with the Kia EV3. Now we're set for that big journey with the EV3, taking our first test drive and seeing how it performs, especially after giving you an in-depth look at the car inside and out in our classic review. I'll put the link in the video description. Now let's see how it drives on the highway, on the country road, how its acceleration is, and how its assistance systems function. We want to explore all that with you now, together with the Kia EV3. I really believe it's going to be incredibly exciting because we have a compact car here that begins at a price point of 35,000 euros, but probably has much more to offer. I would say, let's not waste any time. Check again if you're part of the simple electric community. If not, we'd be delighted if you support us with a subscription and feel free to ring the bell so you won't miss any videos in the future. Now let's start with the Kia EV3 and begin the driving report. We're finally on the road with the Kia EV3, and I'm sure you're just as thrilled as we are. After several weeks of only viewing it, we're now driving it and experiencing its full potential. And ultimately, you'd also encounter quite a significant obstacle on the EV3, Stefan.
Absolutely, he's stepping into some pretty large footsteps.
Exactly, because if he is supposed to take over, presumably this is now an assumption on our part, for the Nero EV, in that case, he must find a way to replace a highly efficient, incredibly well-functioning vehicle that is also remarkably spacious and extraordinarily comfortable.
I believe he can indeed manage to do it.
And that's exactly what we want to discover together with you. I really hope you've already watched our classic review where we showed you the EV3 from both the outside and inside, and of course explained it thoroughly. Which technical possibilities are available? Yes, indeed, we have it in aventurine green metallic as a GT line with a large battery pack, which means it has a capacity of 81.4 kilowatt hours and operates on a 400 volt system. There's also an option with a smaller battery pack offering a capacity of 58 kilowatt hours. Each of these versions is equipped with front-wheel drive, where a front motor exclusively drives the front axle electrically, delivering 150 kilowatts, 204 horsepower, and generating 283 newton meters of torque. We have arrived here on the highway on the A5, and of course we want to thoroughly evaluate and demonstrate its suitability for highway use with all of you, since many of you enjoy using the EV3 and might even say, man, 150 kilowatts, 204 horsepower might actually feel a bit low.
Sure, but I believe that amount might actually be sufficient.
If you view it as a leisure cruiser rather than a sports device, which it absolutely is not, that's definitely a cruiser. I believe that's ample motorization.
Sure, yeah.
And for all those who say, well, 150 kilowatts, 204 horsepower, with such a 4 meters and 30 centimeters SUV might be too little for me because other competitors, be it the Smart #3 or, for example, the Volvo X30, yes, over 400 horsepower offer, then I can tell you it will later also be available in an all-wheel drive variant, which means with 2 electric motors and significantly more power. And there's even supposed to be a proper GT version, like with the EV6, with real oomph.
Okay, cool. And that's when it gets fun.
I believe Kia has some substantial and exciting plans for the EV3.
Absolutely, why not?
Exactly. We'll soon start testing the assistance systems together with all of you. But first, we really need to navigate through this small construction site here. We'll reconnect with you again very soon to thoroughly check out how the latest highway drive assist system functions in the EV3. We've configured the highway drive assist to a speed of 130 kilometers per hour. Could you explain what exactly highway drive assist refers to? That's essentially the active lane keeping assistant in action. This means you'll be smoothly maintained between the 2 lines, consistently centered right in the middle of the lane. You have the steering assistant on board. Let's try that out right away. When we proceed into the right turn, if he continues to keep the car operating in a semi-autonomous manner, and stays nicely centered in the lane. You see this very clearly here. We consistently show you this in a very, very authentic manner, carefully ensuring there's no risk involved so that the car, while operating within the semi-autonomous zone and in accordance with the approval, smoothly and safely navigates in the center of the lane. In addition to that, you also have the adaptive cruise control, which smoothly maintains the appropriate distance to the car ahead, ensuring you consistently have the necessary safety buffer for peace of mind. The predictive system detects speed limits, adjusts speed accordingly when limits are reduced, and smoothly increases it once allowed, ensuring a safe and efficient drive. Also included is the lane change assistant, which executes the lane change smoothly and semi-autonomously for a better driving experience. We will also test this again here to the left, where it very nicely uses the adaptive cruise control independently. I only hold the steering wheel so it knows that I'm attentive and swiftly executes the lane change to the left. And I must admit, Kia has made significant advancements and developed tremendously over the past 4 years. Why do I know that so well? Because my assistant, whom you also know from the videos, Carsten Ortmann, first drove the Niro EV and now he's driving the second EV6. And this allowed us to gather quite a lot of extensive in-house experience with a variety of Kia vehicles. And they were positive. And we also actively noticed through over-the-air updates how the car basically improved.
Sure.
This means that even with the new EV3, you benefit from the advantage of receiving regular updates. If you want, you can even put the EV3 under the Christmas tree, as the first vehicles are expected to be delivered this year. If you're interested in the car, leasing starts at 349 euros per month. Visit your nearest Kia dealer. Let's see if he has a suitable offer for you. And then maybe you'll have it under the Christmas tree. And then you'll start to receive regular updates, and early in the year, ChatGPT is finally anticipated to be available here within the EV3 system.
Yeah, well, we already know that from VW, right?
Exactly. That means you're able to communicate with the car. It shares its vast knowledge with us, having a massive database and high-performance processor inside, which guarantees that you receive the absolute best possible support. Speaking of support, you've really executed it very well here. By introducing a new processor in the infotainment system, which means users are now able to zoom in and out very smoothly and seamlessly. It functions very smoothly, exceptionally seamlessly. You can see it here, it's truly a wonderful story. And there too, Kia has implemented another update in the route planning in conjunction with the charging planning. That means you have A, more customization options, and B, you're ensuring that you always reach your destination in the fastest way, considering both the travel route and charging speed. In earlier times, there was this bug where it would always load to the charging point, which set to maximum at DC, that's out too. So earlier, for example, if you set 100%, Stefan, he always wanted to charge up to 100% at the charging stations. Yes, exactly. Which is silly, as it charges from 10 to 80 fastest in about 30 minutes, right? So I only charge up to 80%, then drive on and just fast charge again. And Kia has now updated all of that. It now features the latest generation. We'll discuss this again in more detail later when we hopefully receive the test car soon as an EV3. Then verified once again, allowing you to try it out yourselves. I have switched on the sport mode. We want to push the 150 kilowatts really hard. Kia says 170 kilometers per hour, and we want to see if it delivers those 170 kilowatts here on the track. Or on the asphalt, 173. Gotta say, that feels good.
Yeah, you're doing well.
And when you film outside, it's just comfortably firm. That means even as an electric SUV, it's not sluggish. And maneuvers very smoothly back and forth within the lane, providing me with an exceptionally safe driving impression even at this high cruising speed. There's no one behind us, we're going to brake a bit harder and the brakes grip well, immediately slowing us down to 130 kilometers per hour. It's really crucial that we not only have the ability to accelerate out, but also to effectively reduce the speed when necessary. You can apply this in daily life in different stages. So you have here paddles on the steering wheel where you can control the recuperation. I've got it in iPedal Drive now. That means he would then pull it into the car and brake until it comes to a stop. You can also adjust it manually using the paddles. That's interesting, adjusting it manually. Why? Because it might be more interesting for car enthusiasts to sail a lot. In e-mobility, the car has a drag coefficient of 0.267, which for an electric SUV, while not a top value, it isn't bad either. I really think it's the middle ground. Exactly. It also matches the price performance starting at 35,000 euros. And then you can basically decide when you take your foot off the throttle, like now, if it recuperates just a little bit. Or instead, just sails at its maximum. We can switch it to auto in several different levels, where basically the Kia engineers make the decision about what works best for the driving situation, camera systems, topography, and navigation data. That's really the best solution. Therefore, you are incredibly flexible when it comes to recuperation. In my opinion, Kia has achieved an impressive new level with the EV3.
Right.
When you put all of this together with the new head-up display, where we can also see visual representations of other road users and where we have the navigation data included as well, that's also nicely projected through the glass. In the Niro EV, it was behind a plexiglass screen.
Let's get the slice again.
Then I think that's also a whole new level, a whole new dimension. And even when he pans over here again, Stefan, with the finishing, with the ambient lighting, you can definitely tell that the EV3 has respectfully gained something compared to the Niro EV, right?
Absolutely, that's the right operation.
Let's measure the interior noise level together with you at einer Geschwindigkeit von 50 km per hour. ...59 Dezibel, that's excellent. Now to 70. 60, 61 Dezibel und auf 100. Bei 100 Mal schauen. 64, 65 decibels. That's a very, very good value. Just for comparison, an ID3 has 60, 61 decibels at 50 kilometers per hour, 70 decibels at 70 kilometers per hour, and 77 decibels at 100 kilometers per hour. And the EV3, which also belongs to the competitive environment, in terms of size in the compact class, much better. I think this is partly due to the good noise insulation and also because of the double glazing of our test car. We have two panes here connected by a film, which naturally helps to reduce external noise from coming inside. Let's do the 0 to 100 test. Stefan, start counter. Draghi's ready. 3, 2, 1, go. And we accelerate 30, 50. The 150 kilowatts, 283 Newton meters, 80. And we're at 100, and now there's no one behind us for the brake check. And it really grabs firmly with the brakes. And Stefan, could you please show us what kind of result do we have here at the moment? You can just display it again wonderfully and read it.
So we have 0 to 100 in 8.46, 0 to 60 in 4.33, and from 100 to 0 we have 2.61.
Yes, those are really quite interesting figures when you truly think about it, Stefan. That the factory specification with the large tires and the big battery which we are using is 7.9 seconds. Then he delivered 8.4 just like that on some village road, right?
Absolutely.
And what really impressed me was that it not only accelerates fairly well considering its vehicle mass and size, but also has really powerful brakes. Yes.
Great, that's important.
Right, because many people overlook that fact. A lot want to jump from 0 to 100 really fast, especially the fans of the American electric car maker. And then when they actually need the safety feature and have to slam on the brakes hard, that's when it gets tight.
Gets tight, right?
Or it takes more time, and then every single centimeter truly matters.
And then it's usually too late, yeah.
A compact electric car with a length of 4.5 meters somehow looks much, much bigger from the outside. A good turning radius is also important, and the EV3 provides, with 10.40 meters, it offers plenty of opportunities to swiftly drive around Stefan. And yes, he does it properly. I have to say, such a small turning circle is definitely handy in the city. We certainly plan to carry out the shopping check with you on 3 different occasions using the EV, of course. And shopping check also means slipping into a nasty tight parking space, doesn't it?
Sure, let's see him act.
And in the GT line, we naturally have massive support in the form of a FI 360-degree camera system. This means we have the helpful guiding lines to ensure we hit the middle of the parking spot. Oh, this might be tight, don't you think, Stefan? I got in a bit late there. The Dacia, oh no, not again. We don't want to damage anything here, of course. You've got nice cameras so you can see those beautiful 19-inch rims. And so, of course, with the help of the guiding lines, if you manage it better than Olli here, you can smoothly and nicely slide right in during the video. And in addition, Kia has outfitted the EV3 with their latest cutting-edge system, offering you a comprehensive all-around view along with a pleasant beeping sound feature. It's a really great story, isn't it?
Awesome.
And where you can also choose different perspectives all the way to the trailer system if you use the optional trailer coupling. You also have the option to display the sides for the rims, ensuring you don't scratch them, and you have a full 180 degrees view, even when you're carefully backing out of a driveway. So there aren't any pedestrians. You see, we would now see children, we would see shopping carts that maybe, Stefan, if you swing out here, could not see the car while parking, and therefore I find like 360-degree camera systems are very, very ideal. And look, we even have guidelines here so we don't bump into anything. See, if you didn't have the guideline, yeah. Kia really put some thought into that. I've always wondered why car manufacturers don't add those helpful guiding lines to the front camera in order to help us avoid tricky situations like this more effectively.
Yep, so we know where to lay it.
Now comes Harman Kardon, or was that it here? So it's really optional, although in general the standard system always works quite easily. I actually don't see that not happening. Gladly. Well, we're kind of into audio, definitely, and I have to say, for this price range, it's a really good sound system, absolutely.
It's really enjoyable being in here. It enhances the whole experience.
Of course, you can't really compare this with more expensive sound systems in higher-end vehicles, like in the EV9 with, I believe, the Meridian sound system, or in the EV6, which is then a bit finer in the highs, a bit finer in the mid-tones, but a great sound system for the vehicle categories. I can always recommend it if you love listening to beautiful music or perhaps enjoy great podcasts. Consider spending just a little bit more of your euros on an exceptional top-notch sound system. Yes, let's talk about prices. It starts at 35,990 euros with the 58 kilowatt-hour battery, 150 kilowatt front motor, and the base R trim. For those who like it a bit more refined, there's the Earth package, which optionally includes vehicle to load for anyone who might want to go camping with the car or tow a small trailer. It's feasible up to 1 ton of towing capacity, particularly when equipped with the larger battery. Because it starts at around 41,690 euros at the moment. And if you want the big battery, like us, even in the GT line trim, then it's around 48,690 euros, if I remember correctly. Then we have the comfort package and the assistance package on board, bringing our subject to just over 51,000 euros. That's certainly quite a hefty gulp from the bottle, yes?
Alright, that brings you back to the topic of financing in Schleswig-Holstein and what kind of offers are actually available in that area.
Starting at 349 euros now at market launch, the first cars are expected to be delivered by the end of the year with timely orders.
Euro.
But you mustn't forget, for 51,000 you get seat heating, seat ventilation and steering wheel heating here. All assistance systems highway drive assist, you get the synthetic leather upholstery here.
That's a lot for the money you spent, yes?
Plus when it's such a compact car, yeah.
Within the segment, so yeah, absolutely.
Many systems have a head-up display. Consider the Cadillac Lyriq we filmed, it lacks one and costs almost twice as much. Yes.
Indeed, it is true.
So in that sense, Kia is basically a demand-oriented provider. By demand-oriented, I mean if you simply say, man, I just want an electric car that should get me to work, that should take the kids to their school, drive around the local area, then you likely won't be going wrong with the base model for 35,090 euros. If you want to use it as your main car, maybe even go on holiday trips with it, which is quite possible with such an 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery, it charges from 10 to 80% in half an hour. Then perhaps you want a bit more comfort, a touch of extra fanciness, like ambient lighting, a premium sound system, and therefore you end up spending just a little bit more from the pocket.
Certainly, of course, why not indeed?
So in my opinion, it's really cool how Kia manages to make things fair for everyone, in a manner of speaking. You just have to say what you want.
Sure.
And you can also take a nice smooth ride on a highway ramp with the EV3, right, Stefan? Yeah. Then it stays nicely in the lane, and that's the good thing about Kia, that they always build good suspensions in all their cars. That was just taking such a tight highway curve at 76 kilometers per hour. I have to say it delivers, doesn't it?
Yeah, do it well, stay nice and stable.
You're snugly nestled in the seat, so I really have to say, with the brakes too, it's such a complete package. That's safety, that's driving comfort. We'll get to that shortly. And it's also kind of a well-being thing that nothing feels mushy here. Because when I really turn left or right here, sure, I have a few swaying motions. We are in the SUV category, but it doesn't rock so much that we end up bumping heads. So, I have to honestly say, Kia really does a remarkably good job with that aspect. Most of you will probably be using the EV3 primarily as a cruiser, just to comfortably cover your distance, whether it be in urban settings, on the smooth country road, or even on the bustling highway. And likely won't venture into such danger zones or use the vehicle right at its acceptable thresholds. That's why it's absolutely vital for us to have a dependable measure for everyday, ordinary use. How can one truly measure comfort accurately? For more than 4 years, our go-to measure has been a uniquely dependable tool known by the name Stefan's Popometer, and this Popometer offers highly accurate readings about just how comfortable or decidedly uncomfortable a car can actually be. Stefan, what exactly is the current reading showing here in this area near Darmstadt today?
I'll just say it's really solid, bro. I truly mean it's very solid. The chassis is something I really appreciate. Everything is nicely balanced. It's not too hard, not too soft. It's perfect. That's exactly my reason. Just stable. The seats are very comfortable. I think even for long distances, they really perform well. Absolutely, having a bit more support for the thighs on the sides would have been really quite nice. Here, I don't think it matters. Also, the quick bends and so on. I was nicely pressed into the seat here to the side. Awesome.
Absolutely, I can largely agree with that viewpoint. I wouldn't even really describe it as being stable, but if I had to express it in my own words, I'd say it's much more like firmly comfortable. In all the areas where we require hardness and stability, that's where the steel suspension really proves its worth. In the moment when we essentially require comfort, such as when dealing with bumps, uneven surfaces or ruts, I believe it's genuinely very comfortable. The 2.68 meter wheelbase significantly helps the vehicle to glide along both smoothly and with ease. And I think it would be a joy to go on a really long road trip with him. We haven't been to Lake Garda or anywhere like that in ages. It was just like 1,000 kilometers each way. Not sure if you saw the video with the Volvo XC40. It was well received by you, where we also demonstrated that it's possible to cover nice long distances with supposedly more compact cars. Of course, the XC40 is a bit larger in size, but still.
Yeah, I honestly believe you could do that with the EV3 too.
Absolutely. Plus, we have lots of space in the back. There's 460 liters of trunk space. Hopefully you've seen the review. If not, as I said, a link is in the video description. And so you basically have a car that you can use for a very, very wide range of purposes. Unfortunately, we had the EV3 for only a couple of hours and truly did our very best. Drove 80 kilometers. You can see it shows 1 hour 59 minutes. There's also a blind spot assistant for turns. And he used up 20,2 kilowatt hours for every 100 kilometers. I think that's quite reasonable at 19 degrees in October, wouldn't you agree?
Highway driving, some speed ups, and reaching 170 once. It's a thoroughly mixed calculation.
A third mix with little city driving. On the highway, we kept to 130 with cruise control. So he was a bit challenged there as well, and I have to say I think 20.2 kilowatt hours is a good value for starters. We hope to get it soon as a test car, where we'll do a fuel efficiency run with you at 100, 120, 140 and 160 kilometers per hour, and where we will of course catch up on the charging check since we still have 81% in the battery. The Kia was fully loaded, and of course we wanted to see if it would stick to the 30 minutes. So it remains exciting, so feel free to check again if you've already subscribed to our channel. Let's get to the conclusion with the EV3. You've seen the review, you've seen the test drive today. And I believe you are really getting a genuinely very well developed, highly pragmatic, practical and outstandingly excellent compact electric SUV.
Yes.
Starting price is about 35,000 euros or 349 euros leasing at the start, and you get 4.30 meters, which have really utilized the space and room effectively, both in the luggage compartment with 460 liters, which is simply 80 liters better than, for example, a VW ID3 or other competitors. There's also ample room in the rear and plenty of space up front too. Plus, with Kia, you're offered a wide range from straightforward basic features to fancy premium luxury items. And not to forget, there's a generous 7-year warranty included, providing additional peace of mind. If you keep up with the necessary services, I believe every 2 years or 30,000 kilometers, don't quote me on that, regularly. Such a service cost about 150 to 200 euros with the Nero and EV6, yeah?
Remained simple.
Well, that's actually quite manageable when you also get an update to see if everything with your car is perfectly fine. Yeah, what do you need to do? You have to make a decision if this could possibly be the next electric vehicle for you. You have two battery sizes with 58 and 81.4 kilowatt hours, and you have a great dealership network across the board where you also enjoy service, where you have a salesperson that informs you as best as possible about your personal configuration. And so you actually have a top Korean car here if you want, even before Christmas, if it's available, then and have a Tannenbaum. I would say you should stop by your chosen Kia dealer, take the car for a test drive, see if it suits you, and let them prepare an attractive offer for you. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. I hope you give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Feel free to check if you're part of the einfach elektrisch community yet. We would be delighted if you support us with a subscription, and don't forget to ring the bell, as there will be a consumption drive with a charge check of the Kia EV3 in a few weeks. I think you don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching, stay healthy, and see you soon. Your Olli. You know, Stefan, everything's great, everything's nice, and he's got it all. But what he does have is this shark fin lock.
Well, alright, at least she's a wagon driver, so maybe she doesn't stand out that much because of it.
Couldn't you have just skipped that somehow, right?
Absolutely.